Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. XRP began surging again this morning, showing continued strength, and it's pulled back a little bit from then, but XRP was doing this on its own. I mean, this is the 24-hour chart of XRP on your screen. Now, if you flip to Bitcoin, not exactly doing the same thing. Look, as I flash back and forth between the two charts, you can see XRP had a notable surge going from about $2.13 this morning, quickly up to $2.23. And I'm going to share with you perspective from 9 different chart analysts in this latest Moon Lambo hot jam. And what you'll see is that a lot of them are expecting that there's a good chance we're going to be moving up much sooner than later. Though some do acknowledge there's a chance you could see a little bit of a pullback before that continues. Key takeaway, on a higher time frame, big picture, XRP still will enter price discovery this market cycle and melt phases. That's one thing they all agree on. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, as I record this video, XRP is $2.16, and Bitcoin is at 84,221 bucks. We're not going to be staying in this range forever. I mean, already XRP's been breaking a bit higher recently. Remember a couple days ago, it was ranging below $2, so we'll see what happens here. But conditions are right for a continued move to the upside. Here's a post the other day from chart analyst TechDev, and he shared this from his 519,000 followers. You got you got a Bitcoin chart on top. That's the Bitcoin price up here. Down here you have liquidity conditions. Now I want to note liquidity conditions is different than global liquidity. So global liquidity, typically when people are tracking global liquidity, they'll use M2. That's the most popular one that I see analysts using. Pretty much all of them use that. And that's pretty self-explanatory. But as far as liquidity conditions, this particular metric is proprietary for TechDev, and he tends to not reveal exactly what parameters go in to form this. But so again, this isn't just M2. That can't just be what this is. There's something else, because clearly you can look at the chart formation. This is not what the M2 chart looks like. I look at it pretty much on a daily basis because so many damn analysts are highlighting it, because any analyst worth their salt acknowledges that risk on assets like, stocks and crypto, they just follow what's happening with global liquidity. And if you zoom out on a chart, you can see that. And so this formation right here absolutely is not what the M2 chart looks like. But what he's highlighting here, and let's just take him, let's give credit where it's due. He's somebody that a ton of people follow because he's got a good track record. I wish he would reveal more about what's behind this, but a lot of analysts don't want to share exactly how the sausage is made, what's behind their proprietary indicator. So, okay, I get it. That's how chart guys are. A lot of them anyway. So if this thing works, if this particular metric works, he's saying that we haven't seen this except one other time. I mean, he literally, look what he wrote here. He said, only been one other Bitcoin setup anything like this. And you can see structurally what he's talking about, where the liquidity conditions reach to the downside, move back up, break down, and then start to break up yet again. He's saying that's where we are. So if indeed this marker's worth anything, and I'll just, because it's TechDev, I'll be like, okay, let's track this. Let's see if this is true. There's confluence here. And so that's what's fascinating me. This is at a time when we should expect, for a number of reasons, crypto markets to go much higher. Here's a post from chart analyst Mustache. Crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin. This is the Total 2 chart. And he says Total 2 tries to reclaim the weekly EMA 100. This would be incredibly bullish, as this is one of the most important bull market lines in the cycle so far. Every major move started from here. Simultaneously, it's making an effort to reclaim a 1.5-year trend line. Confluence much? Yes, the answer is yes. There are so many things you can look at on a macro scale and what's happening on the charts, various metrics. So much confluence. There's so many things that are lining up perfectly that it just... If we don't see a major burst after this, I'm going to be like, WTF, mate, because it should be happening. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Insight UK. This is an XRP ETH chart. It says, and this, I love seeing this one. This is awesome. Because you remember, for most of the last several years, ETH would have been a way better bet than XRP, right? What are you doing buying that XRP crap coin, right? Might want to rethink that now. So he writes, XRP ETH looking for its highest weekly close since January 2020, potentially. This means if you'd bought XRP instead of Ethereum at any time since January 2020, you'd be up on your investment. Think about that, folks. For any point over the last 5+ years, if you had just bought XRP instead of ETH, that would have been the smarter decision. How about that? Now, I will insist that for most of the last few years in particular, you don't got to go back to 2020. Like when XRP was bottoming out against Bitcoin, that was a clear sign that it was a way better buy than Ethereum or Bitcoin. There's historic precedent for this. Look, assets, every single asset at one time or another is going to be oversold. Markets end up correcting for this. This is the most obvious freaking play. And I was screaming about this all of last year. It's like, guys, it's oversold. Markets find bottoms, duh. And here we burst. We ain't done though. There's a post from chart analyst Lub Crypto on April 10th, noting that he took a short trade against XRP. Now, he's an XRP bull, but he's also a trader. So he has his spot bags that he holds, but he also does some amount of trading. And in the short term, he thought that XRP might go lower, even though big picture, much higher. And so with the bullishness of XRP today, he shared a little update here. He said, happily stopped out on this trade. Taking losses is part of trading. Looking for $2.45 next. XRP showing lower time frame strength, and the Bitcoin short squeeze is likely to continue. So yet another analyst that thinks in the short term now, number go up. And by the way, that's a big gap. So we're close to $2.20. I've seen multiple analysts, and I got at least one more in this video. I think Dark Defender is kind of getting at the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. He's up in a second here. But this idea of XRP having resistance at about $2.20, but then thin air all the way up to like roughly $2.50. So that's kind of in the realm, what Love Crypto said anyway. Here's chart analyst Cryptos. And he said, beautiful XRP price action, daily closed outside of the falling wedge and above the 21 moving average. Let's go. And so he was optimistic that we were going to continue to see move to the upside. And at least at this point he thinks it's broken out of this actual wedge. The great Matsby sharing similar enthusiasm here. He wrote, XRP not only backtested the ARC multiple times, but has also backtested the blue level multiple times as well. And the verdict is in. Support held, and it's ready for higher. So another analyst here who absolutely called that XRP would break out this cycle. He was correct. He saw what most analysts didn't. And now he's saying, guys, it's primed. It's ready to go. This is the moment. Here's a post from chart analyst Dark Defender. He says, XRP is close to a daily resistance so that we can expect a bounce. This resistance will be eliminated in a couple of days. And then he notes, yeah, this is what I was thinking of. Key resistances, $2.22 and $2.55. And so when I first read that, I was thinking of Dom the other day. I think it was yesterday in a video. He was highlighting resistance at $2.20 and then pretty much nothing all the way up to $2.50. And then he says supports are at $1.88 and $2.04, and targets $2.85 and $5.85 still on the table, folks. So we're talking about new all-time high yet again. We already got one this year, but another one coming, and price discovery. Now that one, price discovery is what we're really all looking for. We have not seen XRP in price discovery in over 7 years. It's freaking coming. Faces will be melted. Here's a post from Charting Guy. He says, XRP back at top of channel. Rejecting for now, need to build up some more momentum for a breakout and need indicators to align. For now, have patience. Backtest of $1.90 to $2 zone is possible. Okay, so he's not promising we're going to go lower first, but even if we do, it's not going to shake his confidence. That wouldn't break anything. That would just be normal price action for XRP. And then he believes that, yes, we do ultimately go higher. Here's a post from chart analyst Greg Crypto. He says, trust me, we're likely facing one more dip. If XRP doesn't close above $2.30 to $2.50 on the 5-day time frame, a potential retest of $1.85 is still on the table. Targets remain the same. Nothing has changed. Number one, $7.50, then $13, then $27. So he's saying even if there's a pullback, it doesn't change big picture what happens with XRP. That would be normal price action for a crypto asset. And then he says, there's still a possibility of a major liquidation event looming with a wick to $1.40, and market makers know how to surprise us with news that could either dump or pump the market. Am I trading it? Nope. Am I longing it? Nope. Am I shorting it? Nope. I'm simply holding my bags and increasing my position at certain targets. Do not F this up. In 2013, I was not yet in crypto, but I remember following the markets closely. China banning Bitcoin mining, dump the market. China unbanning Bitcoin mining, pump the market. It's the same game, just on a larger scale now. Tariffs on, dump the market. Tariffs off, pump the market. For me, I follow the charts with a clear understanding that certain events will unfold, but I stay updated on the news to see what narratives are created to influence market movements. But as they say, show me the charts and I will tell you the news. Okay, so yet another analyst saying, we could go lower, possible, not promising it's going to happen, but double-digit price action still coming. I can live with it. I don't know about you folks, I can freaking live with that. I can absolutely live with that, even if there is a pullback. This is a post from chart analyst Crypto Wizard. This was from March 24th, and I shared this before, but I thought it was worth highlighting because if you're wondering, again, it's about big picture on a higher time frame, what's going on. And it's an XRP USD chart, and he said, isn't it beautiful? It's repeating again. In 2017, XRP broke a multi-year resistance and never looked back. It is currently repeating the same exact pattern. A new all-time high awaits the patient. And so you can see back in 2014, there was a higher high. And so this, by the way, it's just for those of you not looking, I'll just note, we're talking about multi-year developments here. So in 2014, there was a higher high for XRP against the dollar. Then close to 2015, you had a higher low, an accumulation period, multi-year accumulation period. Then it finally broke out. And then when it broke out above that higher low, it moved sideways and held above the multi-year breakout. And then we went way higher after that, and yet a new higher high. And he's saying that's what's happening here. So here you have a higher high, 2018, higher low, 2021. And he's saying now so then we spent years accumulating sideways. You guys are well aware of that. And he's saying we broke up above that higher low from the last cycle, came back down to retest it as support. The next part is rocket to the upside. History basically repeating itself. Here's a post from chart analyst Steph is Crypto. He simply says, this XRP bull flag will make many millionaires in Q2. Well, I won't be surprised if that's correct. I think that tons of people listening right now are going to end up with life-changing wealth thanks to XRP pumping. And, like I always say, if we're wrong and it goes to zero, well, fine, then we're actually screwed. But if we're just wrong and it's not going to go any further this cycle and the bears are actually correct, which I doubt, but it's possible, then we just wait until the next cycle and we win anyway. Because look, we don't ever get to choose when markets go, but either you have exposure when it happens or you don't. And so for me, I'm just going to keep patiently waiting, whatever that means, however long it takes. That's because I don't get to choose that. I'm an adult about this, and I'm just going to be here when it happens because I firmly believe it's going to happen. I am unwavering on my conviction in that. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.